Hello and welcome to this overview of the anthropology and sociology programs at Lake Tahoe Community College. I'm Scott Lukas. I'm the full-time faculty member in anthropology and sociology, and a little bit later in the video I'll be talking about some of my background and how I got interested in the social sciences and maybe give you some opportunities to reflect on what's available to you if you decide to major in any of the social sciences, and specific to this video, what could you expect if you major in sociology. So the sociology program at Lake Tahoe Community College offers a full-fledged transfer degree in sociology. And I should say that all the information I presented here is available if you go to the ltcc.edu website and click on the catalog to find more in-depth, detailed information about this and all of our other programs at the college. As you can see here, the sociology program at the college focuses on offering a comprehensive approach to looking at the social aspects of the human world, focusing on both the micro, small scale, and macro perspectives in sociology. There are many applications of sociology to the contemporary world. Business, criminal justice is a key one, healthcare, international relations, and politics. And you can look below here and see we have these student learning outcomes for the major in sociology. One of the key ones to look at is that we apply the scientific method in terms of looking at sociological issues in the world. In other words, we're not just focused on opinions, we're focused on actually looking at how to understand the world from a scientific perspective, all the while eliminating our biases and perceptions and prejudices when we do those particular studies in sociology. Another key one here is looking at the interrelationships of people, small groups, institutions, and society. Anything as seemingly innocuous as going to your favorite coffee shop like Starbucks and ordering a coffee, to bigger issues like playing online video games. All of those issues actually and social circumstances are worthy of study in sociology, and I think one of the great things about taking sociology or other social science classes is that it allows you to look at the world through new eyes, basically through new perspectives and understandings that in the past you probably didn't have because you thought, oh, I never knew I could look at it this way, or I never knew I could actually sociologically analyze Starbucks or my favorite local cafe. So it's an opportunity to engage the world in entirely new ways, and I think that's a great excitement about taking sociology classes. As I said earlier, we offer a full-fledged transfer degree. The idea behind this is you'll get a lot of your coursework taken, so that would be your introduction to sociology class and some of your other ones, maybe like you would take your stats class in the math department. And then that means when you transfer to a CSU, you already have most of your lower division major prep completed and hopefully some of your general ed. And then you can take some of those more advanced classes once you get, if you're not at a CSU, to another university. So the idea is to get those classes done ahead of time, have them finished before you move on to your four-year degree program, if that is your path in life. I should say that we offer classes at the college in the in-person format. So you take a face-to-face class if you live around Lake Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe, California. We also offer a fully online class. That's for the student who maybe needs more flexibility in terms of their work schedule, their family schedule. I've had students who are firefighters on the West Coast or reserves in various armed forces. It gives you an opportunity to take a class a little more on your own pace and you don't have to meet in person. And then thirdly, we offer classes through our ISP program. That refers to our incarcerated students program, and specifically those are for students who are currently incarcerated. They take classes via an enhanced instruction system. Their work is mailed to an instructor and it's mailed back to them in the institution where they're currently incarcerated. So it's an opportunity at the college, if you're interested in sociology, to take courses in a variety of modalities, and we offer classes in many of these modalities. Let me go through then some of the classes we currently offer. The number one bread and butter class that you of course have to take, should take at the beginning, not a requirement, but you should. That's the Introduction to Sociology class. The Soc 101 offers an overview of everything you need to know in the discipline of sociology. And the idea is that once you've taken that class, you can then specialize in one of the other classes that very typically has been referenced already in your Soc 101 class. Soc 101 is offered every single quarter at the college, sometimes in the summer. It's offered in person at least once, if not twice a year, and online 2 to 3 times a year, including sometimes in the summer. So great opportunities to take your Soc 101 class here at the college. Marriage and Family, Social 102, focuses on looking at the family and intimate relationships as social institutions and looking at it in a number of other factors. That class is offered every quarter at the college, typically in the online format, and very often also in the summer. So that one you should also be able to take without a problem. Social Problems is Social 103. That looks at the various social problems in the world, ranging from crime to environmental degradation to issues of violence, elite deviance, terrorism, medical crises, and so forth. That one typically we offer less frequently, I would say about once a year, sometimes in person, but very more commonly we offer that in the online format. And I should say for any of these classes, a great resource is, in addition to the ltccu.edu website, is talk to your counseling faculty. They can very fully give you a perspective on what classes we're offering, when you might want to take some of these classes, how to balance your schedule, and so forth. So use them as a resource. They know this information better than I do in terms of big picture, when are all the classes being offered here at the college. The next class is Social 104, our deviance class, and that looks at issues of how people become labeled as deviant, or why we label people as deviant. That one very typically we offer about once a year in person, maybe also in the online format. So again, check your course schedules on our website to see when that is offered. We also offer Social 106, Crime in Society, looking at crime and violence and other issues in society. And that one I offer at least once a year in the online or in-person format. Social 107, Race and Ethnic Relations, we offer less frequently, probably about once a year if that's offered. Sociology of Pop Culture, Social 111, I offer online and in person, also I would say about once per year. Social 114, the gender class, that is a class that is offered also about once per year and could vary between the online or in-person format. So these are the courses that we offer. This gives you an overview of what's out there. Again, I really recommend you start with the Social 101 to get the basics of sociology, and then progress and make your way through what I consider to be the more advanced classes in the field of sociology. Now I should say, in addition to taking classes in sociology, you might also take classes in the related social sciences. That would include anthropology, political science, history, and psychology. We also offer a social science degree at Lake Tahoe Community College, more broadly oriented than the specific anthro or soc degrees. You'll see there are some sociology and anthropology classes we offer, but you're going to get a broader mix of other classes, from geography to econ, history, poli-sci, and psychology. So you can think about that if you're considering a major in sociology, anthropology, or the social sciences. Look over our college catalog in more depth and see which of these degrees might fit your needs the best in terms of your future directions, either in work, in the world, or getting a higher degree in education. And so that's an overview for you today here about the sociology program at Lake Tahoe Community College. If you stick around in a bit, I'm going to give you a focus on my biography and how I came to become interested in the social sciences, and also talk about some opportunities for you in terms of why you might consider a major in the social sciences, in anthropology and sociology, or perhaps taking a class in any of the disciplines, either sociology or anthropology. So stick around for that as I talk a little bit more about my background and why I got into the social sciences. All right, so I hope you've been enjoying this overview I've been giving you today on the anthropology and sociology programs at Lake Tahoe Community College. I want to focus now a little bit about my background, how I came to teach at Lake Tahoe Community College, and at the end I'll focus on some inspirations that got me interested in the social sciences, and maybe you can use that as an opportunity to reflect on your own possibilities in terms of the future of taking classes in either of these disciplines in the social sciences. So my background is, quite interestingly, my advanced degrees are in cultural anthropology. I've also done, because the nature of my research is very interdisciplinary in nature, I've also done work in sociology, in gender studies, in pop culture, critical theory, and also philosophy. So a bit of everything, which is nice for me because I teach in a program not unlike the university program I used to teach in prior to teaching here at LTCC, such that I can teach both in anthropology and in sociology. One of the things I would say about that is there's a great degree of interplay between these two disciplines of sociology and anthropology. Now, the specific trajectory of how I got to where I am here at LTCC, I was finishing my degree, my PhD in cultural anthropology at Rice University in Houston, Texas. And I had an opportunity actually to work at a local theme park. Pictured here, I'm actually in our operations office going through some bureaucratic work here, through some employee files. So I was at Rice University one day, and at the college, at the university employment office, I saw a little poster that said job opportunity training coordinator at Six Flags Astral. I ended up applying for that job, getting that job, which involved me training other employees in rides and grounds quality and operations at this Six Flags theme park, which I should note is no longer open. And then that spawned into my dissertation, which focused on the workplace dynamics of Six Flags Astral. So it was an interesting place to be because it allowed me to look at the real organizational world in a very contemporary sense at a theme park, and it also got me into an interest in theme parks, which I'll talk about later. It morphed into a study of actual theme spaces and the more specific aspects of theme parks beyond their organizational concerns. Okay, and just to give you a sense then of some of the work I've done, again, I do a lot of very interdisciplinary work. This offers some overviews of the types of books I've written in, including a work. This is a book, I didn't complete the whole book, but I had a chapter in it called Joystick Soldiers, dealing with the military, the interplay of the military and video games. So I've done quite a bit of research on the worlds of video games and other aspects of pop culture. Interestingly, I'll talk about this book in a second, but you can kind of see here it looks upside down. This is actually in Arabic, so one of my books recently was translated into Arabic, which is kind of cool. I can't read it per se, but I can certainly read the original. And this highlights here a talk I gave on the World Expo 2015 in Milan, Italy at the college. And one of the things I should state about our college is that we try to offer seminars and lectures of local or regional faculty focusing on a variety of issues. So if you're local to the college, I hope you have an opportunity to check out some of those lectures. If you're not local, you can actually, I'll talk about it later, go to my YouTube site and actually look at some of my lectures that I've given, not just at the college, but from conferences around the world. So here's some books I've written. I've edited a collection with Pat Rice and David McCurdy called Strategies in Teaching Anthropology, which is a pedagogical book that focuses on anthropological ways of teaching in the classroom. Probably not one you would read per se unless you're interested in teaching anthropology. I also edited with a colleague Recent Developments in Criminological Theory, a colleague of mine who taught at Valparaiso University and who's now at San Diego State University, Stuart Henry, world-renowned criminologist. So if you take my Social 106 class, I like to say that one of my areas of expertise is criminology, and I particularly enjoy the contemporary theories of criminology, which have a focus in this particular text. I mentioned the book earlier called Theme Park, which I wrote and was translated into Arabic, an overview of the theme park industry from earliest times, early 1900s, into the contemporary period, including Six Flags and Disney and so forth. Related to that, a much prior book was The Theme Space, which is an overview of various theme spaces in the world, ranging from themed restaurants to casinos to, of course, theme parks. I should say, not pictured here is a book that's coming out in 2016 or 2017 called A Reader in Themed and Immersive Spaces, which combines some overviews I developed in these two books and has contributions from authors from around the world. And one of the things you often do as an academic is you write a monograph, such as this book or this book, and then you also write edited collections like these books, which mean you write some of the chapters yourself, but you have contributions from other authors, and then you try to bring those all together and synthesize them in such a way that there's some sort of dialogue between those various authors and their contributions. In that regard, with John Marmitz, who's a professor of philosophy, specifically existentialist philosophy at College of Marin, we edited this collection called Fear, Cultural Anxiety, and Transformation, Horror, Science Fiction, and Fantasy Films Remade. This is specifically focused on the issue of the remaking of films and what that implies. We also delve into video games and the world of art and so forth. So we look at the significance of the film remake and what we can say about it from cultural, philosophical, even existentialist perspectives. And then lastly, the most recent book of mine is the Immersive Worlds Handbook, a book that I wrote focusing on looking at creating effective themed and immersive spaces. I do a lot of consultation in the amusement and theming industries and frequently give talks at the IAPA conference, which is the organization that focuses on theme parks, museums, and other spaces of leisure. This is some of my work, and if you get a chance, you could look at some of the other information on my website. If you take an online class with me, I'll try to incorporate some of this work as much as it's applicable to the worlds that we are studying. As I mentioned earlier, I give talks from around the world. This is a talk I gave in Germany, in Mainz, focusing on theming and theme parks and time and temporality. And then this is another one, it's a little dark here, also from that same conference giving a talk. So what I want to suggest about this is, as academics, one of the things we do is we don't just teach classes, we publish, we conduct research, and a key to conducting research in social science is peer review. So I go to a conference like this one, other people talk and collaborate, I give a paper, and then other people give me feedback. That's part of that process of doing science. It's a cyclical process such that we try to understand that our research always needs to be tested against other research. It needs to be bounced off of other people. Their opinions, their expertise comes into play. And then the final result then is much more different than if we had written that or researched that information in a solitary sense. So it's really important to do peer research, and that's why I do conference papers and talks around the world. And the other thing I do to make my research more public is I frequently do interviews. A lot of this focuses on the subject of theme parks. As you can see here, this radio show, To the Best of Our Knowledge, interviewed me a number of years back doing a feature on theme parks. But a second area of my research that I haven't mentioned yet is focused on popular culture and gender. And so very typically, because of a website I'll show you in a second here that I created, I'll get requests here ranging from the Daily Beast to the Washington Post, asking me questions using my expertise as a social scientist and trying to get some ideas that they can communicate in a very popular sense to their readership. Going back to the world of theme parks, very recently, The Independent, based out of London, had become curious about this quasi-theme park called Dismaland that had opened up in the UK. And you might know this because of the famous artist, elusive artist, Banksy, who had created this quasi-theme park. And so The Independent was doing a story, and they asked me, and they said, what do you think about this? What do you think of Dismaland? And I gave my little perspective here. What I always try to do in this is to take my expertise in popular culture, theming, the theme park industry, or gender, and try to translate that to a wider audience such that they can appreciate this information, but such that I'm not bogging the readership down in theories or concepts that are too high levels. So basically I try to make it sensible to a wider audience that might be interested in one of these topics that I happen to study. And the other thing I do to make my research and expertise more public is I have my own YouTube page. You can actually Google this. If you typed in Immersive Worlds Handbook YouTube, you come up with this webpage. And this has various videos from around the world. Currently in 2016, there are over 400 videos that I've taken as research efforts in studying themed spaces. You can see here I've gone to Singapore, Berlin, Las Vegas, and I've also set this up through some conceptual issues ranging from authenticity to existential space and lifestyle. So this is another way I try to communicate my information, my knowledge to a wider audience, because we live in a world, of course, where we love multimedia, and it's an opportunity for me to communicate that bigger picture of what I study to the world. I mentioned earlier my work in gender, and this specifically started through the Gender Ads Project. You can check that out by going to genderads.com, which is listed here. And then secondly, if you're curious about my other work in theming or theme parks, or you want to look at anything I've done in terms of research, go to scottlukas.com, and that's Lukas actually with a K. So check out that information if you're curious about gaining more insights about some of the work I've done. And so I want to close this today by saying, how did I get interested in the social sciences? Again, my specific advanced degrees are in cultural anthropology, but I've done a lot of work in sociology, gender studies, pop culture, critical theory, and philosophy, and also way in the back, way in the background prior to all this, performance studies. And that actually leads into why I got interested in the social sciences. So back in the late 80s, I was taking a class at Albion College in cultural anthropology, and at the time I was actually a music major, and I took this one class. It was in anthropology, and I got really hooked on the concepts in that class. And specifically, it got me thinking about this deep curiosity I had about certain issues in the world. It might have been current event issues, it might have been some artist, it might have been some song, it might have been something unique I saw in the news. That curiosity then was fulfilled deeply because I was able to take a class and to make some sense of that. What the social sciences, I think, provide, maybe for you, and what they've provided for me and continue to provide, is an opportunity to think more critically about the world and to delve into it in much more depth than I would be able to if I just used a layperson's perspective like you might get from talk radio, the news, or going to an internet blog. Not that there aren't great resources out there, but we in the social sciences like to think that we have an opportunity to engage the world in some different senses because of how we look at it using our fields. The second reason I got interested in the social sciences was just a pure desire to learn more about the world. Why do people act this way? Why do certain people behave in a certain way in a certain context and in a different way in another context? It's very general, but the whole point of that is to say I can use the social sciences to learn something more about the world. I can satisfy that curiosity and then delve into it and say, well, what can I really say about that? That's a weird thing that I noted, but how does that happen, or why does that happen, or why do these people do that? So that's a second insight I would offer to you in terms of social sciences. And going along with that actually is not only do you learn more about other people and other contexts in the world, but you learn more about yourself. You learn more about your own biases, why you approach the world in certain ways, and hopefully, this is key in social sciences, what we call reflexivity, you change the way you are. That's a real key, is by looking at the world using social science perspectives, you can then reflect back on your own positionality, what we call our position in the world, our own experience of it, take that reflexive position, and then hopefully change the way you approach the world, perhaps developing more tolerance along the way. Then lastly, got interested in the social sciences because of a willingness to find out things on my own. We live in a world today where there's an abundance of information. It's certainly the case that there's no shortage of information. If you turn on TV, if you go online, if you get on social media and Facebook, you're going to learn about exciting new things. You're going to learn about things you never realized before. It's all going to be presented to you in a multimedia format. It's very evocative and exciting. But here's what's missing from that. Here's what's missing from that. And it's that willingness to say, I'm going to find out how the world is on my own. The metaphor here, the analogy would be to say you travel to some far-off land, perhaps an exotic land, and one opportunity is to sign up for the very touristy thing. They take you to all the key sites of the place that you're visiting. Well, okay, you gain some overview of what that culture is like, its people, and the great sites, maybe a little bit of the history, but you really don't know the essence of what that culture is all about. We call that the emic perspective in cultural anthropology, the insider's view of how a culture is. So to go back to that analogy, instead of taking the tour, you get off the beaten path, you poke around, you get lost a little bit, maybe you feel a little bit in danger, hopefully not too much, but you explore the local culture. You don't go to just the tourist traps. You don't go to just the places that all the tourists go to. Instead, you say, I want to discover that place on my own. So apply that analogy then to taking a class in the social sciences, anthropology, sociology, or any of the other social sciences. Instead of just accepting what the talking heads on the news, on internet blogs say to you, ask yourself if you can go and understand the world on your own terms and use social science, use empirical observation to go out and understand how the world really is. That is, I think, the third and for me, most exciting opportunity in the social sciences. So that's an overview of maybe why you might get engaged in the social sciences, and those are three of many reasons why I got so interested in social sciences and ended up taking so many classes in them and majoring in them, and then finally teaching in both anthropology and sociology at Lake Tahoe Community College. And so that is it for this overview. I hope you had an opportunity to learn a little bit about the anthropology and sociology programs at Lake Tahoe Community College. Also gave you a sense of my background and how I came to teach in sociology and anthropology, and gave you some insights at the end about maybe why you could use an opportunity to take classes here in Soc or Anthro to further your degree plans in higher education, to learn some new skills for the workforce, or to just gain an appreciation of the world and to apply those in the sense of enrichment that is also very, very significant and important in today's contemporary and changing world. If you ever have any curiosities about sociology or anthropology, go to the ltcc.edu website or send me an email listed here at scottlukas@yahoo.com. So I wish you success in whatever endeavors you might undertake here at Lake Tahoe Community College or your institution of higher learning. And good luck with everything, and I hope you enjoyed this overview of sociology and anthropology here at Lake Tahoe Community College.